What's going on, everybody? This is Frank with Frankly Collecting, and today I'm going to give you 3 tips for staying resilient when everything in the TCG space seems to be going right to zero. Now, if you watch Rudy from Alpha Investments, you know he's been doing a ton of videos being a little bit sarcastic about everybody talking about how everything's going to zero, no one's buying anything, wait till it goes to zero before you get in. And if you've been following the market on TCG Player or eBay, you understand that there's really not a whole lot of action right now. This is definitely not the time to be putting down a large chunk of change on something you think you can 2x or more the following day. It is just not going to happen. There is, in my opinion, a lot of time to be waiting on some of this stuff right now. Maybe even the rest of 2022. I honestly think that really once 2023 is here, people are going to start reassessing the larger macro environment and things going on in the world, and things are going to start to be addressed from there. With that being said, what can you do if, like me, you are a big fan of this hobby and you want to stay active? These are my 3 tips, not to be brought down by all of the negativity and bearishness in this market right now. So my number 1 tip right now is to be looking for cards that you truly just love owning. And this is going to be the perfect opportunity to just get in and get them at what could be the lowest price you're going to see in a very long time. So if you're like me, maybe you like to do a little bit of speculating here and there. You like the investment side of things because it really just affirms your sort of choice and selection in cards for your collection. Makes you kind of feel good about what you're going after. Now, I don't really see these as really, legitimate investments. I have stocks and real estate, and everyone should really seek a financial advisor when it comes to their actual investment portfolio. But when it comes to speculating and investing, right now is really not the time to be doing any kind of tactics short term. Instead, I would really recommend going after things that you really truly love. So for me, it is old school foils, 2001 to 2007 MTG shooting star foils. I am picking up a lot of these in CGC graded form, in high grade. I really don't feel like there's going to be a lot out there, and I love enjoying looking at these cards in my collection, going after them, kind of thinking about how many really are out there. And another thing that I am really enjoy going after right now are sort of like old Visions and Mirage, even common and uncommon cards that are in super high grade, like quad 9/5s and things like that. If they're really cheap on the market, I'm going to put down a little bit of money to get those and then kind of follow those cards a little bit. Yeah, they're super cheap on TCG Player and Near Mint, but how many are you going to find out there that are really going to hit those high grades? So for me, this is really kind of a fun experiment, and it's not costing a whole lot of money to do. And at the end of the day, if there are a lot of these that come out graded in Gem Mint, I still enjoy the cards that I do have. I just enjoy having the cards, and I'm not really worried about their speculative or investment nature. I also really enjoy Weiss Schwarz cards. There are a lot of sort of like gold signature cards that are a little bit cheap right now in raw form up on TCG Player that I've been kind of searching through and trying to get at the right price. And I'm just sending them off to CGC for grading and seeing what kind of grades I get. And it's just a ton of fun to go through that process and see what comes back. So there are some other categories as well that I'm looking at in the TCG space. But for the most part, I'm really not looking at things that are going to be super great investments in 5 years. Stocks are way down. So if I'm going to be making a big investment purchase, I'm probably just going to be picking some kind of stock in that case. So that is my tip number 1. Find something you love, something you are really nostalgic for. Go after that thing, maybe in graded form, or maybe just pick up some extra copies that you might enjoy having. Complete a binder set. Figure out something that you truly love doing for its own sake, that you're not worried about in terms of its investment side, and go from there. Okay, my number 2 tip is to use this time to expand your collecting hobby. So frequent viewers of my channel know that I collect a wide variety of items, and one thing that I'm really enjoying looking at right now are graded video games. So I am super nostalgic for a lot of the video games that I grew up with, and I think that they are really great collector's items in graded form. I actually think they have a lot of potential in the future. I personally love to get a lot of games that I love. I have Legend of Dragoon, Skies of Arcadia. I recently picked up Rogue Galaxy, which you can see in the background of my studio here, and a lot of games that I just grew up playing with and enjoy having sealed and in graded form for their display purposes and to authenticate their condition. Now, WATA graded games has seen a huge crash lately since the highs just within, I think, a year ago. I have definitely taken advantage of this bear market, which I think is also a little bit affected by collectibles being in a bear market overall in the larger economic environment. And so for me, that is a really interesting and fun space to explore and try to find something that I'm going to enjoy and figure out what the right price is to go after that item. So for you, maybe if you are burnt out a little bit on TCG collecting, it could be a good time to think about maybe comic books, video games, or pick something completely different, maybe some vintage postcards or stamps. There are so many other categories in collecting to go after and to learn about if you don't really know that much about it and you're not comfortable figuring out what are the right items to go after and at what price. This is a great time to do a little bit of research and learn about something new to give you something a little bit novel and fresh to go after in the collectible space. There is not a better time than when you are in a pretty much perpetual bear market and you don't have to worry about missing out on this or that or what's going to go to the moon tomorrow, what's going on. Frankly, things are kind of boring when a lot of things are sideways moving or even just dipping down a little bit, and there's a lot of uncertainty in the air. So use this time to just kind of back off and explore something new in the collectible space. Now, this is going to bring me to my third and final tip for navigating this bear market in collectibles, and that is to try something new outside of the collectibles space. So this could mean picking up an entirely different hobby, like for instance, maybe cycling or some kind of competitive recreational sport, maybe getting into some kind of craft, maybe taking up painting or learning to draw, or starting a YouTube channel and learning everything that comes with that. So sometimes in a bear market, we have a lot of time before we have to sort of worry about a lot of activity happening again. I think personally, this is all speculation. Things could just go to the moon tomorrow, right? I personally think we have really to the end of this year at the very least, again, before people really start reassessing the overall economy, the larger world events, and in turn, the collectibles space. So maybe you are picking up some other types of collectibles, doing some research and learning about other areas of collectibles during this time. It's also a great time just to kind of take a break from collecting. So it doesn't mean you have to sell your collections or not even enjoy your collectibles every now and again, but maybe there are some other things that you've been thinking about doing in your life, and now would be a great time to not be distracted in pursuing those other things. You can go and learn a new hobby, a new skill, and when you come back, rest assured, the collectibles market will be here right where you left it. Now, I think we've all been there where we've kind of taken a break from maybe Magic the Gathering. We played Standard for a while and got out of it and came back in at a later time. And what happened, right? Our cards had gone up in value. We were really surprised to look through some cards that we didn't think twice about. And we're like, what is this selling for? $50, $100 in raw form? And it's an amazing feeling, and sometimes you can lose that feeling if you're really just kind of following things every single day and watching the micro movements. And it can be really very positive for your collecting experience to just kind of turn it off for a while and then come back and then, wow, look at how things have changed. And then you can kind of go through your collection and see where your collection stands in this new and different market. You don't really get that when you're following it day to day. And honestly, it can be really refreshing just to take a break and do something different. Every single one of you out there has something outside of the collector space that you love, or maybe you've thought about wanting to learn more about and get some experience with. This could be the time to do that, and over the long term, it's going to make collecting a lot more fun and enjoyable in your life. All right, everyone, those are my top 3 tips for staying resilient during this collectibles bear market. I want you to comment below and tell me what you are doing yourself. in this space? Are you picking up things that you love? Are you trying to get things on the cheap for a speculative or investment purpose? Or are you taking a break and doing some other things? Thanks so much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you.